Hi, my name is Chris Cook. I'm a literary manager slash producer. I have my own shop called Skyway Entertainment, which I opened about a year and a half ago. Before that, I was at a management company for 11 years where I worked up the ranks and had started there as an assistant from the inception of the company. And before that, I worked for Bob Zemeckis' company, Image Movers. And before that, it's minor, but I love to say it because I love the guy. I interned for Harold Ramis. Skyway is basically what I've been doing before, but on my own terms. So that's where we are. To me, what I like about management the most has to do with what I like about writing the most. In this industry, there's so many, not so much on the production side, but there's depending on what you want to do, there's so many different ways to do it, and yet not one way to do it. What I like about working with writers is that, to me, it's a very blue-collar learned skill, and you can get to that point mostly through hard work. Being a manager, I can work with writers, and we can get it on the page, and the proof is in the pudding. And generally speaking, people don't care about where you come from, what you look like, all different types of things. I'm happy with to work in a world that requires a little bit of luck, but I always feel like with writing, it was something that it's something where you can improve, work hard, and the cost to improve and work hard is time and effort. You can go from amateur to professional in your basement. And I like to aid in that process. I find clients basically from, first of all, I'm very open to query letters. The company I worked at before famously found an incredible top writer in the industry through a query letter, and I was a part of that whole thing. So I've seen it firsthand. But there's no shortage of people who, whether it's an executive or a friend or they find their way to me. There's never a lack of them. I kind of take all scripts as equally serious when I start reading them. And the script from literally nowhere can be incredible, and the script from the agents or the seemingly the ones that should be great aren't always great. So, well, generally speaking, it's when I feel there is something that can be done with the piece of material. A lot of times I'll read something, and again, I think this goes back to the manager and agent distinction. Most managers, or I do, and I think most people should, is when you read a script, I'm looking for good writing. I'm looking for things in an interesting way, but I know that the agent won't be looking for that. They don't want something that doesn't have a place in the marketplace. So what I try to do is I try to help the writer. It's a good combination of what that person wants to write and what they're passionate about, but also what their agent feels that they can sell. And within the realm, and it doesn't have to be, I don't mean that to mean something specific. It's often more like what it shouldn't be. It's sort of that indefinable something that attracts you to it. Something, it's not a new way of doing things, but it's a different way of doing things. I can sort of see when I read something how a person thinks, what excites them. What I'm looking for is informed by all the reading I do where it's just not quite there. In the sense that it's hard for me to say, oh, it's these 4 things that I look for. It's rather, it's an overall feeling I get from reading that person's writing, if that makes sense at all. Hone your craft and keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. It's really, I was talking before about part of the reason that I like to work with writers, in addition to loving writing and reading and all of that, and just the general storytelling from a very basic thing is like I say, it's a muscle that you get better and better at each and every time you write. And again, there's nothing that's holding you back from doing that other than your own dedication and finding the time to do it. I think if you want to break in, it's writing and writing again, and rewriting. Not to say that that's not important, but keep learning. It's funny, you wouldn't take, there's so many things that if you really think about it, if you embarked on a hobby that you, or I don't want to call it a hobby, but something that you've never done before, would you show your first version of would you show your first painting? Would you show you know what I'm saying? Show your 10th painting, show your 3rd script, keep writing, keep reading, read other people's scripts. But you know, and you can do all these different things, but at the core of it is you up against the screen, shutting the door, not going out for drinks, working your butt off and a lot of times after you've worked a full day at wherever, that's where good writing comes out of, is writing.